CPI sends BTC to the moon. Rest in peace, all of you shorts, and we look forward to a bullish week ahead. Hello, welcome to Big Energy, a 100% automated copy trading bot, fully managed by the Block Party trading team. It's exclusively available on Mizar, and if you want to get access, just head on over to Mizar.ai, check out the marketplace, and we're right there. If you want a truly set and forget experience with automated trading, then this is for you. There is no monthly subscription. We only get paid if we win. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us grow and bring you more awesome content. Enough yapping, let's get into those trades. Pew, 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 pew! Boy, am I happy to see such a massive bullish turn after the CPI announcement. In case you are stuck under a rock, it came out at 8.5%. Anything below 8.7% was going to be deemed super bullish. So this is super bullish. Now, we had 9.1% last month. So really, we had quite a large gap in regards to how much we've improved by. I say we, America, and whilst it is just the tip of the iceberg, it is also a confirmation of decline of inflation. Now, I am sure all of you macroeconomists out there are going to comment and say, oh, there's all these different factors. I don't care. I literally don't care. I care that Bitcoin has now pumped 5% because that has taken out bunches of resistances that we were going to be chipping away at for potentially weeks. I'm not going to say months, but we've just done it in one candle. And what that means for the general bullish sentiment out there is huge. And, you know, on that basis alone, there's a lot of logic where it's just like, yeah, you don't want to buy at the top of a candle. That's dumb, that's FOMO. And, you know, the reality is, like, that's kind of the whole point of trading is, you know, you buy when you get confirmation. Now, granted, you can say, oh, you know, there's get on the retrace. But, you know, for the most part of what we're doing with Big Energy and this kind of portfolio and DCA buying is we can be a little bit faster and a little bit loose with the entries to the trades because we have this whole DCA structure. We're not committing all of the capital up front or, you know, as you say in some circles, blowing your load early. We're going to avoid that. But let's take a look first and foremost at Bitcoin and what it's doing. So, as I said, you know, the CPI data came in and it was bullish AF. There were murmurings. But this whole kind of 5% drop, nice slow 5% drop, may I add, over the past 48 hours would have led a lot of people to believe that things are going to go south. But it didn't. It's great. Because my main fear was that if we broke down below this local support at 22,667, then that would have put us on a trajectory for potentially 21,900, 22,000. And then losing that would have gone sailing down to 17,500 potentially. But we didn't, you know, and that's great news. And that's kind of what I was getting a little bit concerned about as we were tracking down, breaking all of these supports. Not good for anyone, really, unless you're a bear. And if you're a bear, shame on you. But we didn't. So we broke out of not only the key local support, but also another key support. And we're challenging, probably, I would say, in this current market structure, the most important one, which is sat at 24,200. Naturally, we have that psychological support of 24,000, which we did hit a little bit of resistance at, unsurprisingly. You know, I'm looking at the order books now, and there is quite a lot of orders coming in just north of 24K. So this is going to be the first real challenge, I'd say, with Bitcoin at the moment, given the recent data, where there's going to be a lot of shorts and a lot of sells. I'm not going to lie, I'm looking forward to see a lot of the short liquidations to see just how punished they got. I think a lot of people would have gone short on this, but you know, we'll see. And I do think there's going to be quite a lot of spot orders sat around about 24,200. See how it goes. So a retrace from here, I would not be surprised, you know, at all. And nor would I be worried, because it'd be nice to sit, for sure, it'd be nice to sit above 24K, but I don't think that's realistic. I think coming down to probably around about 23,800-ish, but even potentially coming all the way back down to about 23,545 or 23,600 for argument's sake, would also be incredibly realistic, and that would pretty much confirm a bit of a retest of this breakout of not just the trend line, but also of this very long-term, well, not long-term, but mid-term resistance. what we're looking at when I did this analysis initially was relatively balanced bullish and bearish factors. So we didn't really know what's going on. There's a bit of consolidation. The order books were quite even on both sides, but not overcommitted, to be quite honest. So there wasn't going to be a horrendous amount of volatility coming out either way. But most significantly, the one which was kind of leading me more towards a bullish sentiment from a technical analysis standpoint was certainly the bullish divergences. Bullish divergences are among the stronger kind of technical analysis out there. They give a lot more of a representation of a trend weakening and potential kind of reversals as well. So divergences, if you don't know it, learn it. Really good. Unsurprisingly, we've seen loads of volume come through in this massive spike, which is amazing. Rumor on the grapevine is that a single whale has bought a huge contributing portion of this candle, of this buy, of this move. But it takes that, if we're going to break through these resistances, especially in Bitcoin, very rarely does it come from just chipping away and chipping through. It usually comes from a massive burst of volume that will have to break through them. And that's exactly what this did, what's happened. And, clearly got some pretty good advisors around him or her in so much that, that this is perfectly timed, targeted that CPI, must have had some good forecast of what the CPI was probably going to come in at and use that as a catalyst to really drive this through. So with that in mind, that's why I'm so bullish for the rest of the week, because this is a very coordinated, very intentional move. And yes, let's expect some retraces along the way, but this is the kind of tipping of the scales that we needed. And yeah, what can I say? I am fully on for Bitcoin at 27K in the mid-term, I'd say, definitely not short term. I think we're going to see a lot of sells, a lot of realizing of profits as the general kind of scale of realized profit is looking on the on-chain at the moment. We're around about 60%, I think 57% if you want to argue, but let's say 60% for ease of sake, which is good given the particular worst capitulation of pretty much all time with Bitcoin. It was horrendous. The whole slowing of people selling in a loss is such a contributing factor towards identifying a flaw. Older coins aren't moving as much anymore. There are a lot of them going into cold storage, and also the shorter term coins are at an all-time low. So what that's basically mean is Bitcoin is not being sold as much. It's very kind of broad on-chain data there for you. If you want to grind down more into it, then get a subscription on Glassnode. Or join our premium channel. That'll be a bit easier. So anyway, in a nutshell, Bitcoin is going up. Okay, that is not gospel. This is not financial advice, as my t-shirt usually says, but it is looking that way. So long term, I've been 70-30 bullish, bearish. I was actually expecting a little bit of bearish short term, but I'm happy to be wrong on that sentiment. So let's kick off with Cardano. Again, rinse and repeat here. We have good news coming up for Cardano with the Vasily hard fork, and there is also, I think it's the Real Vision bot, which is Raoul Powell's macro economist. His kind of like go-to, and they do the way that this bot works is pretty cool. Is it does a poll, does surveys with a lot of investors and everything, and they kind of choose, I think it's weekly, every Sunday, baskets of assets that they think are just going to kill it. And Cardano obviously is one of them. The other one was, I think, VeChain, potentially Phil, and Matic as well, obviously, and of course BTC and ETH. So little things like that, it gives us a good sentiment that a lot of investors are looking at this. Unsurprisingly, Cardano, it's all about averaging, getting a good average buy price there, and let Vasily hard fork do the rest. We do have, a lot of speculation around buy the rumors, sell the news, and there is actually some supporting evidence around that in regards to Ethereum and the merge, but we'll get to that when we talk about Ethereum. AMP, we spoke about this last time, and that kind of got done for the whole removal of from Coinbase because of security, for being deemed a security. Again, that's not bad news, that's just FUD. So nothing wrong with it, still a good asset, and we've got it in a lower price now, which is great. XS, this was one of the trades which I wanted to jump in straight away as soon as I heard the news of the CPI data, because I had this charted up in a inverse head and shoulders pattern. I actually thought it was going to come down a little bit, but I also fortunately got an entry in here. Again, that's the beauty of DCA. You don't have to be a sniper with it. So that I think should pretty much already will be in profit probably by the end of the video. We're not going to talk about the down tokens at the moment because I was debating yesterday whether to add to these and like get a bit of a sharper price, but with the CPI on the horizon and there's a few kind of rumors circulating that it could be quite bullish, I thought best just to leave it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to see where these land. We've got such little exposure and commitment capital wise in these assets that, to be quite honest, if we have 2 or 3 assets dumped down crazy amounts, it doesn't really matter. We've got plenty of active deals that we can utilize. You know, we've never filled all 30 deals on BigWick Energy or on the block party portfolio, and they are reserved for when there is no catching of knives. They're reserved for when it is parabolic AF and we have real kind of like massive mainstream adoption, like Amazon is taking on Bitcoin and Google and Apple, etc., 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 and there is kind of very open adoption about institutions coming on board, not just for BTC but for Ethereum as well. So when that market starts to tick in, then that's when we'll start to see full boards going out, and it's just a case of, you know, really just buying the shallow dips on, you know, these obvious trends. So equally, between now and then, we will be seeing crashes, we will be seeing dumps, and that's when we'll take our opportunities with the BNB down token, the Link down token, and what's the other one we got open as well? ADA down, I thought we had. Oh, I'm sure I'll find it at some point. But on that flip side as well, seems a bit mental that I'm opening a BNB trade as well. But why not? You know, for that exact reason, if we're waiting to see where BNB down lands, we're not going to suddenly overcommit to that. But if we know, you know, if we feel it's going down, then why would we not get into a long trade here? So BNB is doing really well. It's just actually broken low. It's challenging this very key recent resistance, and that's going to fly. It's been easily one of the best performers over the past like couple of weeks, month. It just has so much resilience in the market. Like when you actually look at the really long-term BNB chart, you take it back from its kind of all-time high. Tell you what, TradingView got absolutely hammered on this pump. It went so slow. So here's our all-time high, right up at 671, and we dropped down a good amount, 70%, but we're already back up 50% down from its all-time high. But you know, it just look at that amazing recovery. And you know, you shouldn't really be surprised. It's backed by the biggest exchange in the world, and also CZ, who knows a thing or two about crypto. It's got such amazing utility within Binance as well that it's not going anywhere, that's for sure. And you know, if you can at least guarantee that to some degree with crypto, then you're in a probably pretty good place from the get-go. BTC we have been through. I am targeting. We've been in this trade for a while. It was all looking very bleak, but now we're back at break even, which is great. And I'm foreseeing 27K here at some point. So I'm going to leave that to roll out. ENJ, again, a slightly older trade. This was one of those little bit of a higher risk trade, knife catcher, I guess, because I was hoping that it'll bounce around about here, but we didn't overexpose ourselves too much on that last round of longs. That's heading up. Ethereum. Yeah, this is going to go. This is going like puppets. It's almost at TP. So again, we might even be hitting TP before the end of this video, or at least by the time I publish it. Phil was another one of those. So as I mentioned earlier on in the video, Raoul's go-to bot, Real Vision bot, had a little basket of assets. Check it out, Real Vision bot on Twitter. It shows you that every Sunday. And yeah, you know, that got announced and it started to find good support and take off pretty well. With Phil, we do have one safety order committed so far, and pretty much everything else outside of the down tokens, I think we've got maybe 1 or 2 safety orders across the rest of the basket. HN2 is owning 2 of those. HNT, I'm happy about this little move now because I thought we were potentially going to break down here, which would have just been really not bad news, just annoying news because, again, we've been in this trade for quite some time. And as I said before, I'm not committing to any more safety orders until we break out of this descending trend line here. So just waiting to see, or we'll get there. HNT, it's a awesome asset. It's got awesome fundamentals behind it. So I've got no doubt that it's going to go. IOTX, we actually have a inverse head and shoulders going on there. So we got in there, and just as the pump was not going on, a little bit late on it, to be honest, because putting out a few trades on Premium, on TradingView, and also for myself. But we got in a pretty good position, to be honest. The key thing here is really getting above this little resistance line just here at around about 3531. KDA, just looking very bullish, and that was actually they've just kind of brought back their Telegram AMAs, and usually they do that because they're announcing something on the horizon. So very, very, very heavy rumor mill trade there. But again, with everything, with so much volume coming into the market, pretty safe space. Pretty high risk trade here on KMD, not going to lie. And it was a lower cap asset. But, you know, the way it was looking very promising, and I was expecting that to actually just pump straight. A bit of a knife catcher. And should that have... No, that tricked me last time. Okay, so we've not hit our safety order. I wish we had hit a safety order there, that would have been nice. But all in all, it's actually not looking too bad. We've got a nice, very nice double bottom here. Unfortunately, we do have a bearish Gartley forming and on the underside of this resistance line. So I do expect that to actually come back down and probably head up. So we could be in this trade for a little bit longer. If we do, however, break out of this, then that would be super bullish, and then we're going to be off to the races. What I might do is lower this TP to about here, so we're not challenging too many resistances to get there. But we'll reassess that when I'm not on the video. Link, again, we've got a link down trade, and it just seems to be going the other direction. So I was putting off opening longs just for the sake of not being too obvious about hedging it, but yeah, this is a full-on hedge now. Link down is just cascading down. We've only got 2 safety orders in there, so real minimal commitment to it. So we're just going to wait again to see where that settles and wait for some serious weakness in BTC. Look to buy a safety order pretty much across all the down tokens and then really hammer those out. Link is doing well. We are going to probably close that again by the time I publish this video. What else? LTC, these relatively higher cap assets are just going to do so well with all the money coming in, and that immediate kind of drip feed down to the rest of these assets, straight from Bitcoin to Ethereum to your high caps, to your mid to high caps. Probably not the mid to high caps just yet, but certainly we're going to see it filtering into the high caps. You know, Cardano, Link, even I'll say LTC to a degree. I mean, I know it's not particularly a super high cap, but it has that kind of longevity and that kind of vibe about it, which is very reliable, very, not bank friendly, but you know what I mean, like kind of whale friendly. So LTC is going to be off to the races. Matic, again, this is just looking for any kind of recovery. I'm so happy about this move, and a lot of these moves, to be honest, because as I was saying in the last video, I didn't like the look of us breaking down on this longer term channel, but in just the space of 2 hours, we are right back in it. Right back in the game. We are looking at taking out this kind of blocky resistance just here, at which point when we do, we're off, we're going. SHIB, please SHIB, don't become one of those trades which I start to resent you because I've been in it for slightly too long and I've become impatient, but I think it's more because we didn't take profit, we missed taking profit by 0.2%, or even less than that, I think. But this has just been showing some real serious strength and resistance. Got a nice double bottom here, bounced perfectly off the 20D EMA and straight through. Like everything else, obviously we've got a pump with the current BTC, CPI data. But what we're kind of looking for here is not just getting into any single trade. We're looking to see what significant resistances these pumps are broken. Are we on the other side of a trend line? Are we on the other side of like kind of daily moving averages? Have we broken through whole moving averages? Point of controls on the session volumes, all sorts of stuff really. But you know, that's kind of where we want to be. So if you are looking at FOMOing into a trade, for example, then that's kind of what you want to be looking for. Don't just smash into anything. But you fully can do. Like if it's only just started and it's moving and it's very, very good news and you know it's good news, then you can definitely ride the wave. Robotnik just made an absolute killing on Ethereum doing just that, and I think it was, obviously not going to disclose how much, but it was a whole 90-second trade, I think. But it's pretty impressive. But SXP didn't hit the safety order, looking good. I believe it's got some news somewhere. I do need to dig that out. Usually I'll post it on here so that we can see, but what we're looking at is this significant resistance line just here, which we are now challenging. And what we want to do is get on the other side of that. It's quite simple. So once we do, it's going to start to look a lot more bullish. All that with everything. TRX down, not doing great. And then look at VET. I haven't actually looked at that. Wow, that's smashing it. Again, this is one of the assets that was mentioned on this Real Vision bot that I talked about earlier on. So it is super duper like institutional friendly, bank friendly. And so you will see this move. There's going to be quite a lot of support around that. XRP, again, no brainer. It's got some news on the horizon. Any kind of news with this one, with the SEC. This should really be in everybody's basket. And we're just going to keep on entering XEP and we're just going to keep on riding it right back up to $10. I'm joking. We're going to ride it back up to at least $1 and see where we kind of get from there. Last but not least, we've got ZIL, and we are looking at this kind of very similar formation that we've been seeing pretty much everywhere else. We've had a kind of head and shoulders coming back up, and we're smashing through that. If we can get back on the other side of this whole moving average, things are going to be looking good. We do have a TD9 there, which is not ideal, and there is quite a significant point of liquidity. So realistically, we do want to be pushing past 0.04540. Some better glasses, and then things are going to be looking rather peachy. But for the most part, ZIL is, again, great asset. We only trade in the, you'll hear me say that a lot, we only trade in the top 100 non-stable coin market cap assets for that reason. We want to kind of remain controlled. We want to remain in a good place with what we're putting our capital into. Anyway, that pretty much concludes all of the block party trading portfolio for today. We have, as it stands, 24 trades open out of a possible 30. The market is looking very bullish, so I want to be seeing at least 22 of these trades close. I'm joking. A good portion of these trades close by the end of play today, and then hopefully some more overnight. So we've got a load of profit to bring you tomorrow. Otherwise, guys, of course, if you want access to this, find us on Mizar, where it's exclusive. We do all the heavy lifting, so you don't have to. And of course, give us a like and subscribe on YouTube so we can bring you more of this awesome content.